Catch that for the
God damn it! How come this happened to me?
Oh shit, we're on. I had one of those things. Oh god, what is up, YouTube-verse? Who's all ready for some more Persona challenging conversation?
Captain.
I can't. No, don't even think about
Let's not do it. Let's not do that today.
Let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place. So we left off last time on we talked about the main characters, the side characters, the mascots, the best boys and girls, villains, and we even actually arced a little bit on the villains too, choosing our favorites for the villains.
Yes.
Both supernatural and the human that usually gets influenced by them.
Yes.
So.
It's almost like the last three Persona games have a very predictable pattern.
For the most part, we have walked out of the human part, like the characters part, for the most part, and we're going more into more abstract things, starting with the stories of Personas 3, 4, and 5, if you'll remember from last time. So we're going to start off Persona 3's story. Persona 3's story is meant to, and I should mention, this is kind of ties in with the theme thing.
Should we just make it one?
Theme and story together, I think, are the same thing. We're so
it ties in a lot.
Persona 3's theme
is death.
And its color theme is blue.
Yes.
Which is a very good representative of the
depressing color.
depressive...
It's the saddest color.
Atmosphere, basically. Try not to burp again.
Well done.
And it fits things very fittingly.
Yes.
I've run out of words.
This is what it's like.
And basically it fits it really well because, I mean, you go through the game and there's always a tinge of blue to the world around you.
It's like the UI itself is blue, and it makes the battle interface is blue.
Exactly. And it pulls you, it almost feels like a little part of you gets pulled down while you go through. Even happy events, there's still that shade of blue over them a little bit.
I think the thing that best, like, casts a shadow is, like, the intro to the game, the very opening, not like the FES festival whatever opening, but the original opening, the game, like, constantly the text, Memento Mori, remember you will die, over and over and over and over again.
That and the fact that...
And the symbol of the characters putting a gun to their heads, accepting their own death.
Yes. And, I mean, that was also, I think 3 was the first one to really drill home the whole thing of the wildcard user accepting that whatever happens from now on is your responsibility.
That is literally the first one to do it. Yeah. 1 and 2 don't.
No,
they don't. They have no reckoning of the wild card.
They don't have a proper wild card. Everybody can use different ones. But
kinda, sorta, it's weird.
Somewhat. But anyways, and it's the first one where it basically, and it's the one that most heavy-handedly drills in that no matter what happens, you are responsible for what happens from now on. That's not even the thing. Actually, that is a bit of the theme in itself. Is that
it is for 4 and 5.
Stripey Pajama Boy has you sign something literally saying that whatever happens from here on out is your responsibility.
Yep.
And I think that really adds some gravitas to it because you think about
it's kind of a shocking moment.
The things that happen further down in the game, and then you have to think back to the fact that guess what.
You made
thing happened. It's your choice.
You were stuck with these choices. These are the choices you have made.
It's also a nice little way, if you look at it from a different angle, of pointing to the player saying, "Guess what? Make a choice. You can't go back."
Yeah,
basically.
Stick with it. You can't fix things.
Which is a lie because you can always
fucking Persona 3 Portable, where you can save Shinji and Chidori, and that's fucking bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm very angry.
Accepting the fact that it's playing a game that has save points and you could literally just save before doing something.
Though to be fair, there aren't really a huge big story. There aren't really any big story changes.
Super, no.
There's the only one is when Ryoji at the end of the game is like, "Hey, if you kill me, you can forget all about this and you can just live a normal life up until the point that you die." That's the one big choice, and that leads to the bad ending. That's it.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's a big fucking choice.
That's a big choice.
So, yeah, it's understandable that's not... I don't know. No. I just noticed both our characters have some sort of yellow light behind them.
What? Oh, okay, probably, just the way...
Just the lighting from wherever they're dancing on from the original picture.
I
don't know, I just noticed this now. Anyway, so that is 3 in itself, and it's very meant
I'd like
to
make a few comments as well. I think the interesting 3 has like a fairly consistent pattern to it. It's basically once a month, you're gonna have Shadow's gonna come with the full moon. You have to defeat
It's
it.
like a monster of the month.
Basically, so you have to go into your school, which has been transformed into Tartarus. It's a big beacon for Shadows are all conglomerating in there, and you're gonna climb to the top and see what's up there. And you do that, and then you to train for the full moon Shadows, and then you start getting a villain. In April, you get Strega, the organization. Takaya is their leader that you talked about. We talked about last time,
Yes.
part 1.
Jesus complex.
Yes.
Shirtless Jesus complex.
And you start getting like these kind of like the story's fairly bare bones. You can have months where like not really a whole lot happens, but then
spend that time strengthening your social links and grinding in Tartarus. Basically.
Yeah, and then you'll have months where like a whole lot of stuff happens, and it's really really plot heavy.
I honestly think that part there, the whole where you have like a month or so where nothing really happens.
Yeah,
majorly. Really was the fact that this was the first time they did it.
Yeah.
So it's nowhere near as polished as how they set up. Like, if you look just quickly at 5,
yeah,
just about, like, if you don't do all your confidants in perfect order,
yeah,
you won't get them all.
Yeah.
Because of just how perfectly
and we'll talk about that in
time
social links.
But we'll move ahead. Move back to 3 for a moment. Continuing with what you said.
Yes, and so then you get to the point where you defeat all the full moon shadows and you expect the dark hour to end and everything to return to normal, and then it just doesn't. And then it turns out that your mentor, the head of your organization, betrayed you, and like you're thrown for a loop. You're Yes, I want Tommy Wiseau to make the Persona 3 movie. Yes.
I think Tommy Wiseau needs to be a Ikuchi.
Big Coochie.
He needs to be a Kutsuki.
Yes. It's you're thrown for a loop. You're lost. You don't know what the fuck is going on. And then it turns out that in January, this death itself has been prophesied to come to the world and destroy everything.
Actually, we should mention the fact that throughout society, at least in that area or such like that, or was it around the world that was happening?
It's unclear.
There was something called
apathy
syndrome, where people literally just lose all will to do anything. They just sit there.
Yeah, and it's been it slowly spreads over the course of the game.
I think it does kill them over time. I mean,
I don't think it does. It just sort of like it's kind of like a brain.
How would it not? They're not eating. They're not sleeping.
Maybe like that, but it wouldn't naturally kill them.
It wouldn't be a natural kill, but
and like it just slowly gets worse and worse as society starts to crumble.
And a nice touch too, I might add, is that further along you go, the more often when you walk around town to do things, the more people you will see just lying around with apathy syndrome.
At the very end of the game,
there's
there's nobody. Everyone's gone.
Anybody, yeah.
And it's bleak and it's dark, and there's a point where the avatar of death becomes a character in your school, and you don't know this at first, and it's a big twist, and it's a character you're supposed to like. I really don't like him. I don't like
I don't like him either.
I liked him in the movie.
I did not like him. I just did not like him.
I thought I liked him in the movie because they feel like more like friends, but in the game it just feels like Ryoji's like, hey, he just sort of like inserts himself into the group. And like it just feels really awkward.
Hey, I'm here now.
And also, Aigis didn't trust him, and I trust Aigis, so.
So we both kind of figured, if Aigis is saying this, she's
she's
not just like something's wrong. She's like this fucker.
You are evil. I think it's what she says is you are evil, and so I trust Aigis.
To which she's just like, what are you talking about?
I'm a nice guy with a big long scarf, huh? And yeah, you have to make a choice, and you all decide that you're going to face death, and you're going to try and kill death itself to save the world, and it doesn't work because you're just not fucking strong enough. So you have to sacrifice yourself in probably the coolest Christ-like sacrifice in all of fucking anime and video games. This is it. This is the penultimate. And then you save the world, and then you finally die.
We have to give Persona 5 and 4 as much of a love as we're giving to 3, right?
I will give 5. I'll probably give 4 some.
Do I need to give 4 the love?
You might at least half.
Continue with your tirade.
It's fantastic. Basically, I love Persona 3. It's so fucking good in terms of story.
I made this, like I said, gravitas. It has a lot to that. There, they do things that are very. It may seem small at first, like the apathy syndrome sufferers and stuff like that, where you wouldn't really notice it unless you really took a moment.
You can, like, skip through dialogue, and you can just completely ignore that, and a lot of the stuff in, like, the early game is, like, kind of slice of life, like, Monster of the Week stuff, like you said, where you gotta go and rescue Fuka, and then this thing happens, and it starts small, and it gets really big.
Oh, yes.
All the Persona games do that, to be fair.
To be fair, yeah, that's kind of their jam.
That's what JRPGs do.
You felt foreboding. No matter, not just the apathy thing, you felt foreboding. Like, as you got closer to the end of the game, it started feeling fucking...
Oh, yeah.
Terrifying, very, very unnerving. Everything was going on. Like, that is a sign of good game design right there. A good story design, even. In that you can invoke those reactions, those feelings.
I think the 1 week part is what you mentioned, where there'll be times where, like, shit, just nothing happens.
Yes.
In terms of the story, apparently
And I'm willing to give that a pass because, again, that was the first time they ever did it. You can tell in 4 and in 5 they definitely
refined
got better at it. Yes.
Apparently, one of the original ideas they threw around for doing Persona 3 is that would have taken place over the course of 3 entire school years.
That would have been.
It would have been huge. It would have been ginormous. It would have been very different.
Would have had a lot more time to do my personal links.
Yeah, I suspect it also would have been full of like months of nothing happening, probably. So I can't really blame them. But yeah. And
they stuck with that year schedule, basically.
Well, I mean, they less than a year at this point. It's like 9 months.
Yeah.
It always seems to end around end of December, and Persona ends at the end of January, which is nice. You get a little bit more time. Persona 3 is my favorite story and theme.
I think we've said what we can about it.
Throw my hat into that ring.
I can. It's the first one I played, to be fair, and pardon me. It's not even like I have no real problems with it. I have problems with it compared to the other ones, but by itself, I find it to be almost a masterpiece of art in how well they told the story.
It's so fantastic.
Yes.
If Persona 3 was a person, I would let it do horrific sexual things to me. I love it so much.
You just had to go one step too far.
Yes, that's what we do.
All right, well, let's lighten the mood a little bit.
Let's talk about Persona 4!
Definitely the most lighthearted, I think, of the three of them.
Oh, absolutely. It's very lighthearted. It's very cheerful, despite the fact that it's a game about a serial killer.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you have serial killings of people hanging from, like, rooftops and wires and stuff like that.
People being thrown into these horrific TV environments and forced to face themselves and who they really are.
Let's start off from the beginning, though. You have Narukami coming in. I can't remember what those we figured on. He was
the transfer student because his parents for business, so he has to go.
His parents are out of country for business.
I think they might be out of country, but anyways, he has to go live with his uncle, and his young cousin who is
first question in my mind is this the only family he has to go to?
I'm guessing because I don't know. It seems like.
This is an uncle so removed that he barely remembers him.
I saw last time I saw you. You were in diapers. Exactly. I think what he says.
Yeah.
And either that or they're in like a worse state than Dejima is, which is saying a lot. Because Dejima is a fucking alcoholic wreck of a man.
But at least he tries.
Yes,
he does care about his family.
Yes,
his daughter. So yeah, and
his adopted son.
Yes, basically it semi-adopts you.
Yes,
there. So. Or did you adopt him? Because I think he's the more responsible one.
You can cook for one thing.
Yes. Well, after work at it.
Yes.
But anyways, you go into it, and he comes into the school year. He runs into the delightful dumbass Yosuke.
Like everybody in Persona 4, when they first encounter you, is really nice. They're very friendly. They want to get to meet the guy. They're sucking your dick from start to finish. Is the thing. As Persona 3, everyone's kind of apathetic. Like, at the beginning, they're kind of like, oh, you came in with Yukari.
I can give you a good reason for that, though. Oh. Because Take 3, it takes place in a big city.
Persona 4, small town.
A big school like that, whatever, you're just another face in the crowd. A small town, a new person coming to town.
From a big city. From the big city. This is news. Wait till I tell the boys.
What did I tell the boys at the ranch? I don't know. But the thing is, like, it's news. That's why everybody's falling over. So I was like, oh, did you see the new kid?
He's got silver hair somehow.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. Was he an old man? I don't know. I mean, and the first thing the problem we talked about with you too is that he has no personality.
Yeah,
is. To be fair, he is the perfect personification of a blank slate.
Yes, I think which
is what I think they were going for.
Because like all the other Persona characters and for Persona 4 characters, the main characters, he's incredibly marketable because he's just a blank slate. He can be anything you want him to be.
He is the personification of true neutral.
There you go. Basically.
And I think that works out quite well, actually. If you stick him in between the other ones, because I'm just going to go off a tangent here,
Yes.
I find Joker to be chaotic.
He's chaotic good is basically...
Chaotic good.
Yes. Makoto's like neutral good, maybe?
Neutral good. I'd say...
He's not evil. He's not really chaotic. He's not really lawful either.
Yeah.
He's just kind of apathetic, but he's not like neutral either, because maybe at the beginning he's like true neutral. Because he doesn't really care, he just wants to do his own thing. But then in the end, definitely, he's at least neutral good.
I say he's lawful neutral, almost.
I can't say it. I can't say it.
He's holding to his own principles to protect everyone.
Well, yeah.
At the end, so I'd say that's definitely...
But that's not really a lawful thing.
Lawful doesn't always literally mean holding to the law or something like that. It's like you hold to principles, too, an order.
Well, yeah, but he kind of does, but he all, like, I don't know, just lawful good. Let's split the difference.
Sure, we're making him a paladin now?
Yes!
Fuck.
Best boy is best alignment.
But anyways, going back to it, Yu is most definitely true neutral, and he is the epitome of blank slate, and then we come across his first buddy, his first character, Yosuke, who is, perfectly in his home in a trash can.
He's a bitch boy.
And, we should probably just leave him there.
Yes. Absolutely. Let's do that several times over the course of several days.
I think he only does it like twice, and then the third time he helps him or something like that. But you find Yosuke is like the beginning of a trend you find in this town of these people...
These weird, kind of messed up people who...
Fucked up because small towns breed really bad mindsets. I've mentioned this before.
Though some of them don't really have anything to do with, like, small town, like Naoto's.
No. Some of them don't. And didn't Naoto come from out of town?
Yeah, she comes from out of town.
So she doesn't quite count. She has a wider viewpoint like Yu does.
Yeah. And
so
Yosuke's does. Chie's doesn't.
Well, I guess
really.
Yosuke too, doesn't he? Because he moved there too.
Yeah, but he had sort of conflicts against the small town vibe. I think
that's because see he's kind of the opposite to you or Naoto on that because he conflicts. He was the one who's quite happy in the big city, but no, Dad decided to start up a store in the small town.
Yeah, well they transferred him there. He didn't even have a choice.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
His dad didn't even have a choice. They transferred him. Yep.
Right, because I forget Junes is basically Walmart.
Yes.
So yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I can. That's one of the reasons I actually don't mind him is because you can see there is a reason for his acting out for being a dick at times.
Yes.
Like that.
It's just really boring acting out. It's not like interesting acting out, and he doesn't like change enough for me to be interested in him. Is my problem.
We're not talking about our thoughts on characters. Though.
Okay.
Moving on, he meets the girls Chie and Yukiko.
You forgot her name. That's how bad she is.
Yukiko is rather bland, but I mean, I think where they were going with her.
She's like a traditional Japanese beauty. She's very stoic and she's very professional.
Yes, and of course she runs the inn, so of course she has that mindset to work with too. Whereas you have Chie, who is the exact opposite.
Yep.
Rowdy, raucous, and she loves her kung fu meat and Yukiko.
Kung fu beat Yukiko. I'm gonna name my child
she's very single-minded.
Yes.
But she is also very loyal. You could give her that to a fault, I'd say.
Persona 4 is interesting in that focuses like really heavily on like the cast of characters for its story. Like it's propelled by its story. Like the entire story is just like you meet a character, you kind of get like a hint of their dilemma. They get thrown into the TV by a attempted serial killer who thought he was doing the right thing. And then you rescue them, and then they join your party, and you do that basically for the entire game.
Yeah. And it's its own thing. I mean, nothing's saying that everything has to be Persona 3.
No, unfortunately. As much as I want literally everything to be Persona 3, it's not Persona 3.
It is not Despacito.
Why would I want it to be Despacito?
Anyway, sorry.
Despacito is Persona 4. It's cheerful, it's bland, it's poppy.
But it still had a tad of gravitas, even if it wasn't on as grand a scale as 3. It's hard to follow. The thing is that I almost blame 3 for 4 being bad in a way.
That is kind of a problem.
Because they went heavy on story, on themes in 3. But in 4 how do you follow that?
No, the theme in 4 is truth.
So the way I work with it, is that what it is?
Yes,
truth? Yeah, reach out to the truth, right? Yeah. So, but the thing
As the shitty battle theme says. We'll get to that later.
But the thing being is that the way I see it is what they did is we already came to the end.
So basically. we gotta go to the other end.
We killed death.
Let's go to the other end. Let's have a chill adventure.
Let's try this from a different end. Let's start over, chill, Let's start it again.
Comfy small town mysteries.
Exactly.
But here's my problem with that.
Oh God.
The tone is just weird. Is just a bit too conflicty for me. Like, it's about like a serial killer. It should like, okay, you can do that lightheartedly, but it's a dramatic, like really dramatic subject matter, but with a really really light tone. It just doesn't. It conflicts too much for me.
It is a mixture. Of murder mystery with everyday life of school kids.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But you know,
like
doesn't
it's Saved by the Bell crossed with like CSI.
Supernatural.
Supernatural and CSI. That's what Persona 4 is.
And doesn't that in a way kind of make it good though? Because you have to think about it. It's its own thing. Yes, it is. Is it kind of off the wall? Is it weird?
Yes.
Yes, but is it totally bad? It really isn't.
It isn't bad. I will give you that. It's just not a great. I would say it is a good game. It's just not a great game. And like all the other shit that I've been talking about, and I will talk about with Persona 4 with the later stuff, it's just like everything with Persona 4 for me, just like this doesn't hit the mark, this doesn't hit the mark. Like everything fails to hit the mark perfectly. Like, I feel I really should enjoy, like, comfy small-town mystery, but then there's also, like, the super dramatic gravitas, Persona, confronting your true self stuff, and then you also have, like, the really dramatic dark murder mystery.
And all of nowhere, let's go to Junes!
Yeah, it's so weird, and, like, I would enjoy each of these things by themselves, or maybe, like, half of one blended together, but, like, together it just makes for, like, a really... Okay, here's my comparison. Imagine if you made a soup. You got like a soup broth, and then you put fucking chips in there. You put potato chips in there, and then you put a steak, like a whole steak. That's what that is. That's what Persona 4 is a soup, a perfectly reasonable, like, tomato soup. It's a good soup. It's a comfortable soup.
And somebody dumped a steak in it.
Somebody plopped a steak in it, and then somebody else came then someone else came and put potato chips in it, like a whole fucking bag of, like, Lay's potato chips.
I feel like that would have been Yukiko, because she found it funny in her own awkward way.
Yes. That's, like... That's Persona 4. It could have been like a perfectly good.
It's a full course meal, but not really set out nicely.
No.
You got soup, you got meat, you got chips for dessert, but you know they're not side by side, so you can go one after the other. No, it's just all like.
Yeah. I also find.
So I get where you're coming from.
Yes. I find the themes of truth are also like significantly less played upon. Like the stuff in 3, there's a lot of social links, we'll get to this later, that are touch on death. A lot of the stuff is about death. Like it's a really like concrete theme, but Persona 4, they were kind of wishy-washy, like what is truth? How the fuck, like that's like just deep shit.
Hits blunt. What is truth?
It's deep. This is like this could be like really like good deep shit that you talk about, and then they just kind of go wishy-washy. It's like
I feel like maybe they didn't know what truth is.
That's my concern, is that Persona 4 is another kind of like, let's do something different, but like Persona 3, they don't hit it like 110%. They hit it like 80% of what they wanted to do.
Like Persona 3?
Persona 3, they hit 95%.
Oh, okay.
Like Persona 3
even that, you can't give it 100, eh?
I don't think I could give a single game I played 100. There's always a flaw with a game I can find.
Fair enough. So, I don't know how we basically.
I think we've gone over Persona 4.
Ripped 4 apart.
Yes. Oh, let me just give 3 my mark here.
What?
We have to give it our tally.
Why?
For the story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Story?
Because I gave 3 I said Persona 3 is my favorite story and theme.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know. Okay.
I mentioned that. Anyways, let's move on.
Well, so we're on to 5. We start off with
Joker, Ren, Mamma Mia.
Ren, Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia, here we go again.
Yes.
Ren, basically, I'm just going to call him Joker, it's easier that way. You're on a Joker, basically, being a regular teenage boy, sees this woman getting accosted by...
This is in flashback. When you start, he's moving to Tokyo.
I'm putting the story chronologically.
Chronologically.
And he's being... Okay. But he's being what the hell? I have to get my phone quickly. He's being fucking... I can't speak. He's accosting a woman.
Yes.
Okay, the bald bastard, which we later to find out to be...
Damn, Sue, I'll brat.
Damn Sue all brat.
Yes, that's a meme. Yeah, basically there's this dude, she's accosting a woman, Joker's like, I'm gonna help this woman, I'm gonna be a good dude. We talk about the Joker character in the last one. So he helps this woman, and then this guy's, it turns out he's a powerful man, so Joker gets sentenced, and he has to spend a year probation in Tokyo under the watch of a friend of his parents. And he meets, like Persona 4, he meets some misfits that don't exactly fit in. They have their own problems, but they're all like, the theme of Persona 5 is rebellion.
Yes, rebellion.
Or at the very least, like a second or third.
Breaking, you know,
or like control would be like another
breaking
one.
the chains of control for free
Yeah.
and getting free.
Rebellion is basically the easiest way to sort of.
Yeah, rebellion's the best way to put it. And what better color for rebellion than red?
It's
By
a
the
passionate
way, we didn't
color.
touch on it much on 4, but 4's color is yellow.
Yes, which is a happy, bright, sunny color, which
Yes.
is appropriate for the small town of Inaba.
Basically. But red is a color of passion, of power,
It's
and
anger.
of rebellion,
Yes.
too, in its own right. And it definitely hits the mark for that. Everything about that. Like with you see, the yellow thing didn't really happen as much, I found, with 4.
It's
you know
in
how I
like
said
the
with
UI, but
3?
it's more like downplayed.
When I remember I
According to
said
the blue.
3 that you could feel a tinge of blue over
Yeah.
everything, there's a tinge of red over everything.
Yes,
In
like
5.
in 5, the UI is
And it keeps
everything
yes,
is red.
Everything's red. There's even, it feels like a little haze of red over
Yeah,
the game itself. And that fits well. They did that. They obviously, I think they saw that that worked out well for them in 3, and they
Yeah.
brought it back.
they wanted to have this game has a really strong presentation. We'll talk about that in like art design a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like everything just like the theme is just it's up front and center. It's everywhere. And like with the social links, we'll talk about that later, but basically every social link has to do with like rebelling and like being oppressed and like breaking off the chains of control.
Mhm.
So yeah, in Persona 5, I will tongue bathe Persona 5 a little bit. you like I said, you meet this gang of weird misfits that don't really fit in, and they got their problems, and they all. It's
putting it lightly. You literally meet one there, and the two you meet
over
Ryuji.
the course of the game.
Yeah, you meet Ryuji, and you stumble into the opposite world.
Yes, the metaverse.
Metaverse. You stumble into the metaverse, which is this game's version of what was Tartarus, what was
the Dark
video
Hour,
world,
and
Dark Hour,
and
and
then
the
the
video
TV,
world.
the Midnight
TV
Channel,
World, Midnight Channel. So yeah, basically each one has its own version of, and that's
where
how
you
Shadows
do all
come from.
your fighting and that sort of thing.
But it's just, I don't know, it feels different from the other ones.
But
Definitely.
I'd say all of them feel quite.
They
different.
all feel quite different, but this one, I don't know, it feels even more so.
Mm.
And by the way, you can put the point down for me on this one.
Of
'cause this
course,
is
I'm
my
not even
point.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
I've lost my train of thought. Where were we?
How the metaverse feels very different.
Yes.
God.
Now, okay, we are now past 4 a.m., so now my
Also,
brain might
this
start malfunctioning.
light is very warm on my face.
I mean, I can't turn that off. It's not like they need to see us or anything.
I suppose. Let's turn it down a little bit, at least. There we go. Oh, yeah.
So, let's see, going back to it there. It's a very well fleshed out world. Again, like with 3, it's a big city. Although, unlike the other 2, it's a real city.
It's an actual city. It's
an
Tokyo.
actual city. It's Tokyo. And that gives it, it lends itself a little gravitas too. It brings it into the real world.
Yeah,
for you almost.
there's a because like having it set in the real world feels very different from having it set in an actual like fictional
Yeah.
city.
Like wherever, I don't know what the heck the city was called in 3, but
Tatsumi Port Island.
okay, yeah. So basically, they just came up with a
It's
place.
just this. It's like a small city. It's not like Tokyo big, but it's fairly big.
I'd say in terms of size, it goes
Tatsumi
Port
and
Island, and then
Tokyo, obviously.
Tokyo. And the thing is, that it was a real nice touch that they added in things like from the real Tokyo, like
You can go to all the neighborhoods.
Electric Avenue and where the hell is it?
Akihabara.
Akihabara. The shrines and stuff
Yep.
like that, the shopping centers, all those different places,
Yep.
and real places, and it gave it a feeling that you could actually work with to like match it, because it's even easier to match it, feel comfortable in a place if it's a real place.
And I've seen pictures too where you can like compare like the Persona 5's places to in real life, and it looks very accurate.
I mean, they better be. The people that made the game live in those areas.
They don't live in Tokyo, I don't think.
No, but they live in Japan, so it's a little easier for them to get to.
Yes.
And I don't know, adding that thing there's actually a sense of realism to this one compared to other ones. And you were saying before in the last video about how you downplay the big boss, big bad guy. Shido's part there, but as a villain, because he's just this corrupt salaryman at way too much power.
I don't downplay it. I think he's a less interesting villain.
Fair, but you have to think he's a much more realistic villain.
I'd say in terms...
He is somebody who has worked his way up and gotten power to do so. Yes, he's gotten a supernatural power in this case, which isn't as realistic, but think about it. There are politicians that were given that ability. Fuck, of course they'd abuse it to take power.
Literally all of them!
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, is the reason that this one resonates so well is because of how realistic it is. It makes you think, like, oh shit, I'm seeing this in the news.
Like, all of the villains are, like, people that you can like, the first one is just, like, an abusive teacher who rapes and beats his students.
Yep.
Like, that's a thing that happens.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, there's another one, it's a corrupt artist who's plagiarizing art for money, and that's really, like, that's a thing that happens. There's a fucking mafia boss. There's, like... Who the fuck... Futaba's arc doesn't really have a villain.
Futaba's arc, well, the villain is basically...
her shadow.
No, actually, hers is bigger than more than anything. Because her villains aren't even really seen. They're the ones
It's basically the whole conspiracy.
Behind the whole conspiracy of the thing that got her mother killed and such like that. So, in a way, hers actually ties to the story even more than the other characters. And... it's... I don't know, it works quite well together.
That's an interesting thing about Persona 5 stories, that it feels like even more sort of episodic than 3 and 4. In 4, there's the continual, like... There's the mystery of the Midnight Channel and what's going on with that, and the murders. In Persona 3, there's the Dark Hour, like, continuously we gotta stop this thing. In Persona 5, it's arcs of, like, this is the villain, we're gonna deal with them. Villain, like, go into the palace, you know, beat the shadow, and then we'll change their heart and it'll be a big thing. Until, like, at the end of the game, where there's sort of the twist where everything sort of comes together and everything was part of the conspiracy, and it all sort of entwines, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. This is all part of this, and this is this. And then, there's a big twist. You're supporting old man Igor was actually being like locked away, and the god of control Yaldabaoth has been pretending to be Igor this whole time and controlling everything, and
including your strength. Like he actually
everything.
He was actually there trying to strengthen you because of a freaking bet.
Yes, he had a game going on to see.
Was it with Igor?
I think it might have been to see if Akechi or Joker would be the one to win the people's support.
Yes, and he was basically testing both. I think the thing is, I think Akechi probably met with him too multiple times. We just never saw it.
I'm never sure of that sort of thing.
Because I mean, how
so
unless you figure Yalda just basically said, "Here's some power. You have the ability to do what you need to. Leave.
I'm
guessing.
Do what you must." I guessed it's sort of like an Izanami with Adachi thing, where it's sort of like, you know, Shake is like we just sort of like ping magic wand him, and then just sort of went on his way, and then Akechi at some point found out about the metaverse and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like he put the phone app on Akechi's phone probably, and then it's like, what the fuck is this? And they found out it's Persona and that whole thing.
And goes in from there.
Yes.
But with Joker, he actually did a whole pageantry with it, like, oh, you are the prisoner in your cell, and such like that. And he doesn't even say much except in certain times when he offers new services.
Yes.
Generally, it's Caroline and Justine that are actually the ones doing your rehabilitation.
Yes.
So and of course they're a whole nother nest of cats in their own right.
Yeah,
too.
they're the original Velvet Room attendant who got split in half by Yaldabaoth.
Which just sounds like a doujinshi waiting to happen.
Oh boy. Whew. Anyways. And then, at the end, you defeat the God of Control, and it's a big thing, and everyone's is like, hey, the Phantom Thieves, your guys are really, really cool, we love you, and it's fucking amazing.
And it's a nice touch I should mention, too, is when you go through the Kamoshida arc after that, and you give the kids their confidence back, and a lot of that, what's his name? Beta Boy, yeah. Mishima. There, Beta Boy.
Don't you dare be mean to Yuki-chan.
He is a beta. He is not even a power bottom. He's just a bottom.
That's fine by me.
he's but yeah, Mishima starts that fan site, and that's another nice touch. There is that throughout your loading screens, every time, every day,
you can see what people's opinions are of the Phantom Thieves.
And a nice touch that is on there is nearing the end of the game, your bar is huge, like it is near the top.
Like when when everyone rallies to your side and like bursts through, and it's fucking amazing.
And then out of nowhere, boom. Whole thing, you watch the meter just drain down to 0, basically, or like 1.1 or something like that. And it's just like, you sit there going, the first time you see that, you're going, what? You worked so hard to get it up this far. Hell, it took out so many different people. And now it's nothing. You literally are with the Phantom Thieves on that, because that's basically their thought process, too. And it really brings you into feeling in sync with your pals.
I think that's the interesting thing about, in terms of Joker as a character with like the story, in the thought process, he always uses I. He would say like, I might have enough room to do one more thing today or something like that. When in 3 and 4,
I should go to bed early because
they'll say you should go to bed early. You're feeling tired. Apparently, the only reason for that is because in Japanese pronouns are fucking ridiculous. It's the exact same thing. It's just in 5 they use a thought bubble, so that they just translate it differently. But it ends like a really interesting effect where you think like, I need to do this. You kind of put yourself in the situation of the character, and that along with like the fan site bar and like all the other all the shit in the game just leads to feeling like you're Joker.
And I should say with that fan site bar has one of my favorite parts. It's just the fucking it's the major rise right at the end where Mishima starts cheering for you and you get all your other social links cheering for you, and you get that part, and of course it gets the crowd going and everything like that, and you watch that meter move all the way from the bottom all the way right up to 100%, which you've not seen yet.
No, it has never happened.
You do not see 100% until that point where it's like boom, and it's
everyone universally
out there.
Cheers for you.
Exactly. And for that one moment, you are known worldwide, and you are at full power, and just you have the moment to take it down. It is it's the most powerful moment in the game, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
And it just it is the second most powerful moment. The most powerful moment is when you see frigging what the hell, Nile.
Yeah. I consider that the exact same moment. It's basically the same moment.
Okay.
Like the whole like.
I took a breath between those moments for me.
Okay.
But yeah, the moment you see something now, you bring the fucking huge ass revolver.
Gun. Yeah, it's pretty great.
It just fucking got me.
And then like Joker actually gets a happy ending with his friends.
Yeah,
Same with you from Persona 4. Like they both get to. You actually has to leave. He has to. He's done. He's got to go home.
So does Joker, because his
he gets
probation
a road
is
trip.
over.
He does get a road trip
with his friends. Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes. So the way I see it, I'm going to do a closing statement on this thing. Unless you had anything else to say?
I'm good. I think after this we can move on to the music and stuff.
Closing statement for me on this one is that I feel that 5 took the best parts of 3 and 4 and was able to blend it together to great effect. It took the gravitas and the strength of the third one. I love that word, by the way, gravitas.
It's a good word.
Gravitas and the strength of the third one, and the emotional... I don't know, the emotional power to make you want to be a part or get into it.
Yeah.
And it took enough lighthearted from 4 to put it in there and make it so you could still see these characters weren't all, like, serious, overly serious stuff. They didn't take themselves seriously. Ryuji is like a knucklehead.
Ryuji's pretty great.
Ryuji gets his ass kicked by the girls when they think he's dead. No, that's one of the best.
Hey guys, what's going on? That is an emotional fucking roller coaster. That scene.
Oh yeah.
Where I was
because you
like, holy shit, Ryuji's dead. What the fuck? I was like, holy shit.
You were into it. Right?
I was emotionally devastated that Ryuji died. I was more like devastated when I thought Morgana died. I preferred Ryuji's death.
Well, you didn't prefer Ryuji's death.
You know what I mean.
But I get what you mean, yes, on that fact. And it got me, too. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was...
What? No!
I was, oh, shit. And then, and
then the dumb shit walks in front of the screen, and my feeling was...
I remember he's just, like, slouched over his hands in his pockets.
My feeling was the exact same as An's. You idiot! And just basically fist ready to beat the crap out of him. I love the fact they don't even try to help him. They just leave him there lying against a lamppost.
I basically agree with like most of your points. It's just that I think for me, I like the themes and like tone and story of Persona 3 just like connect more personally.
Fair enough.
It's a really, really, really subjective thing where it's
For
like
my
whichever
part-
thing just connects with you more closely.
For my part, I'm going to admit that I've always had a bit more thoughts of rebellion and such like that. So I have authority issues, yes.
Yes.
So my thing being is that it does fit with me a lot more.
Which is interesting,
So,
and I
5 does fit me.
and my own personal motto has always been Memento Mori, which is very appropriate for the game. So it's a personal thing. There's like this thing connects with us on a deeply emotional level and like intellectual, like it just fits. I will agree with you. However, it does have the best of 3, 4, and 5 scene where like all your social links are rallied together.
Yes,
and you get
because,
like and you get the world
in all
arcana.
of them.
Yes.
But that one, I don't know. There's an extra bit to it that just fucking kills
I'll talk about it a little bit in when we talk about the final battle.
Alright.
I'll talk about it a little bit.
If we give ourselves enough time.
And we got this. We got this.
Wait, how long have we been?
40 minutes. Okay, music and art
We
design.
have talked about story and themes for this entire time.
Basically. Oh my god.
Christ.
We literally have. Okay.
Okay, music. We shouldn't need to take too much time.
No,
on this.
I'm gonna
just
break
need to fillet the music.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it down real quick. Persona 3 is like rock and rap. Those are like the
rock and rap, and there's enough. It's a little bit of enough of a downer to still to some of the songs.
And like some of the orchestral stuff as well
Yes.
for like the background music. Persona 4 is a similar thing, but it's J-pop and rap, mostly J-pop. And then
the rap is a continuing thing through all of them because
not really Persona 5. There's no rap in 5.
I guess not. Okay, for the first two, but it's mostly like Lotus Juice because Lotus Juice is part of it.
Yes. God bless that man. God bless.
But yeah, and then 5 we
Is
have
basically
acid
all
jazz.
jazz, yeah.
Acid jazz because that
and
was
a little
the,
bit of metal for like some of the boss themes
yes,
and that sort of thing.
Yes, definitely for that part there. And I for my part, I'm okay. Cast your vote. Mine is going to be for 5. I love the music on all of them, but 5 is still the one that I actually looked up and listened to. And still do now.
It's interesting. I have a similar thing. I find that 4, in my opinion, has the most boring music. Like, it's just too bland and poppy, and there's not enough spice in it, basically, for my taste. I love Persona 5. It has a fucking 10 out of 10 soundtrack. I will not disagree with you. It's perfect. However, the one that I always find myself listening to more is 3.
And to be fair, it used to be that way for me, too, when I played it, too. That was the one I went looking for, but once 5 came out, I honestly, it's overshadowed 3, and I like them, but I just don't get the same enjoyment out of them as I do with these ones. And that might be a syndrome of just the new game kind of thing like that, because who knows, maybe 6 will have even better ones.
Who knows?
But yeah, I don't know, that's my thought. So it's your
I'm not even I generally don't like rap much, like really at all, but I fucking love all the music in Persona 3. Like, it
does focus the most on rap, I think.
Yeah, and then like for like the background stuff, there's like orchestral and like rock backing and that sort of thing. I think we've got music. We did it. We did it.
We did it. It took us 2 minutes.
Yes. Art design. We kind of touched on this with like a little bit of it. Persona 3 and 4 have really pretty similar looks because they're on the same engine. They're not really
the difference being is their colors more than anything.
The color scheme and like their UI and that sort of thing.
But the menus are the same, basically.
Persona.
Battle menus are.
Yeah, Persona. They're both circles. Like their battle menus for like selecting things is like a wheel for Persona 3, and it's just a list for 4. And then, it's basically just color design. Persona 5, though...
Well, you have the list in 3 once you select, like, if you're selecting magic, then you get the list.
Well, sure, but otherwise it's like a wheel and you scroll,
I get
you. But in 4, it's just a list. Which is also why it's the worst one. It's the most boring. 5!
But 5 throws it all out the window to make
5 is insane. It's gorgeous.
5 is the one to throw it out the window and just basically say, okay,
we're gonna do
we have a list... But there's spikes. There is starbursts.
Yes.
It is insane.
We'll talk about this in combat. The fact that it like improves upon with its design, it improves upon the combat significantly in a lot of different ways. But it looks fantastic. It has like a lot of style. It has style.
The menu.
Yes.
The main menu itself. Not the beginning of the game, but the one you go to.
Yes. The fact that your character moves around depending on which options you're choosing.
Exactly. Like the other menus were literally just static menus where you can move around with a little bit of color and stuff. This one here literally, like you said, Joker literally like sticks his hand against the screen or something like that, or does a little pose and stuff like that.
It's so friggin' cool. It's amazing.
And it's entertaining.
Yes.
It's just... I don't know. My vote is for that one.
I gotta agree. I'm gonna agree with you. It's for 5. It's 5.
I think we know who's gonna win this ultimately.
12, not 13.
Wasn't it 11?
No, it was 10.
Oh, was it 10? 13 anyways. We know who's gonna
Shut
win.
the fuck up! Persona 3 is still the better game. Despite
We might be disproving that at the end of this.
no,
Next
the only reason I think that 5 is ahead so far is because because we decided to include first girl, and no other. We decided first boy and first girl for characters, no other characters. Otherwise, so I had to choose 4 for a couple times. There are times that I had to choose 4 and also villains. I think that was literally the only time we've ever chosen 4.
Okay, well, anyways, moving on to the next part, which is
Social
social
links.
links. Now, in this one, we'll touch on more on what we think of the various characters in the social links for each one, starting with 3, of course,
Yes.
like where we start. In 3, you have things like fellow classmates. You can romance a couple of the girls, like 2 or 3 of the girls, I believe. You have an old couple. You have
you have an old monk. You have a little girl.
Like the fucking monk at the bar, right?
Yeah.
Little girl who's basically always just dropped off there while her parents are.
Yeah, as her
like
parents are divorcing in the relationship,
Right.
and she just goes
And
there
you
to be
actually
alone.
help her go through that, basically,
Yeah.
survive through it.
I think now that I think about it, this actually relates particularly well to the theme of the major arcana, death, because death usually is when it's like used in like tarot readings and all that shit. It doesn't usually just like represent like straight death.
It means change.
Yeah, it basically means change,
Yeah.
and all the characters are in
Usually
Persona
great
3.
change,
yes,
usually.
it's like a big,
Yeah.
big momentous change. Are going through literally dealing with death, like the old couple, their son died, and the tree he planted is going
And
to
they
chop
basically
down.
adopt you de facto.
Yeah,
Because-
or like the girl, like the guy at the shrine, he's dying. The girl at the playground, her
She's
whole
going through
world
a
is
major
changing.
upheaval,
Yeah,
I don't know about the old monk. I guess he was having a crisis of faith, wasn't he?
I
I think so.
I don't remember.
The only one I can say for 100% sure probably wasn't having problems was Tanaka.
Tanaka's just Tanaka. He fits the
He
devil.
fits the devil Arcana way too well.
Yeah. Some of your and you can also do social links with the girls in your party, but not the guys, because
Yes.
that's gay. That's big gay. Big gay.
No, but the guys on the sports teams, that's fine.
Yes, that's
Yes.
very fine. Very
Oh,
fine.
and the weird one in the sewing club and stuff.
He's the best.
He is such an odd critter. But
And also the fat dude at the mall who's gourmet
Moon,
king and
yeah.
is also part of a cult.
is he part of a cult? I
Yeah,
didn't
there's
know
like
that part.
there's like later in the social link. This just comes out of nowhere, by the way. The Moon social link in 3 is fucking weird.
I always cared so fucking little for that guy.
I did it because I wanted the experience
Yeah, I
bonus.
get you.
Later on, some guys are like, "Hey, you took money from my brother for your weird cult thing," and yeah, he's fucked. It seems to be almost like a doomsday cult, but not Nyx.
There was a Doomsday cult though in the background of the
That
story.
was
and
that
stuff,
was
so-
started by Takaya later in the
Okay.
game, but it's a different one. I don't know.
But he's not part of Takaya's one.
No,
basically.
it seems to be a different one. For what I remember, it's sort
I'm
of like
part
a
of a death cult,
But not that one.
But not the good one. Oh, but. And that, like you say, they're actually bringing a point that a majority of them do go through something pretty hefty in their life, one way or another, be it something as hefty as death or just life-changing circumstances.
Yep.
And that's actually fits quite well with it.
Yeah.
But I'd say that leads us into 4.
where truth isn't really a theme for any of them.
Not really.
Except for like kind of your party social links, because some of them are like Yukiko's is like, I don't want to run the inn. Oh wait, I do want to run the inn. I've discovered the truth of things. Like, it's a stretch.
Yeah.
Persona 4. Okay, here's my.
The truth is really shown in the
Like the main story.
In the main story of them accepting the truth
like
of what
discovering
they
the
actually are.
truth of what and discovering the truth of what's going on with the murders and all that sort of thing.
But it focuses focuses more on the main story than it does the other one.
The
other ones are
social links is just whatever.
Here's the thing. I don't even remember half the social links. I remember there's that bitchy girl at school that
Right, she is the worst.
Forces you to be in a relationship with her. I remember there's like a fisherman or something. No, it's an old lady.
Yeah, it's an old lady you meet at the hospital.
Yes.
because and also the nurse in the hospital
Nurse as
hits
well.
on you,
Yeah.
but not in a sexy way, in a depressing way, which I didn't know was possible.
Basically, she's just because she can't get anybody else, so she's going after a
Basically.
schoolboy.
It's not even like it's weird. In 3, the social links are like fucking abysmal, like the moon guy, which is just so weird, or fucking like really, really fantastic. Like everyone says, I've yet to do the sun guy, the dying guy at the shrine.
Oh,
everyone
I
says
always
it's
do
fantastic.
his, because honestly, I still believe to this day he is the face that's he is Messiah's face, because it looks so fucking close to the same.
I didn't even realize that.
I'll have to show you after we're done with the thing.
But yeah, but then Persona 4 is just really, it's like mediocre at best. It's like Persona, if it's like, if we're talking like a 1 to 10 scale, Persona 3 can range from like a 1 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. Persona 4 social links are all like a 4 out of 10.
At max.
At
Basically.
absolute max. I don't think there's any that are really bad. They're just all boring and really generic.
Yeah. And I think that's all we can really say on that one.
Yeah.
That's about it is. Then there's 5, and we'll be here for another hour.
Yes. Which actually does embrace its themes of rebellion and breaking free of control.
Because every single person, I think every single person you're talking to,
as far as I'm aware,
you're helping them through a part of their life where they have to power through problems.
There's someone who's like, who's lording over them, and basically every single one, like in Kawakami, it's the people she owes money to.
She doesn't even owe them money; they're just forcing her to pay money because they are entitled parents.
Yes, they are.
Entitled parents. They are very much so.
In Sojiro's, it's Futaba's uncle who wants to take her away from him. In Takemi's, it's a guy who's blackmailing her because she may or may not have done some
that
some
shitty
practices.
Doctor, basically.
Yeah.
He's trying to make himself look better for her stuff. You take, what the hell's the Go player's girl?
Oh, Hifumi.
Hifumi, she's got her mother as being Tiger Mom, basically, and is forcing her, you must do that, I couldn't do this to you, to this.
The politician Yoshida, he doesn't really have, like, a character specifically.
Not a specific one,
but basically society in general.
Society in general, because he is, like, the one honest politician,
He fucked up once years ago, and now he's trying. He's trying so very hard to be a good person, but everyone around him is, like, incredibly corrupt.
Exactly. And you have, like, let's see, there's another one I was thinking of, too, and I'm trying to remember what the hell it was. Well, I mean, take one of the more bigger ones. You have Sai.
Yes.
Sai herself comes off as kind of a bitchy, horrible person at first. But she is fighting underneath a boss who is literally working for the bad guy.
Yeah.
And system that is rigged against her succeeding.
Against literally everyone, because it's a 99% conviction
literally
rate, like
the game
they mentioned.
is you telling the story of what's happened to her.
Yes.
And the fact being is that she's... By the way, I always have a problem there. Did he really take time to tell her he went to rent a movie and then he played video games in his room?
My guess is that he's sort of like, that's just how he remembers things, but all like the little shit he would like skip over.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't be like, and then I went to go see what movie's on at this theater, but it wouldn't boost my kindness, so I went to go check out the other one, but it wouldn't boost my kindness either. So I checked out the other one, but it would. But then it wouldn't either. But I decided to see what other social stat I could boost. So then I went back to the other one, and I forgot which one I was supposed to go to. So I went to the other one.
This is the mindset of a gamer.
Sai is just like, we don't have enough time. You must hurry.
See, that's the thing she keeps saying. We don't have enough time yet. We're like how many hours of gameplay through?
It's like
apparently we do.
I'm assuming he just like really brushes over a lot of shit.
Yeah, probably just.
I'm in like the course of like an hour or two.
But and like even all of them, it's literally helping them fight through. Some of them more than others have fighting through hard times, even especially your party members.
Yep.
You have to help Ryuji get through the fact that everybody thinks that he fucked things up.
Yeah, everyone hates him,
and by the end of it, he's accepted that fact, and he has helped them move on with their lives.
Futaba's, it's kind of...
that's a harsh one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the closest thing to like an oppressor is basically just herself, like her own self-doubt and thoughts
created by horrible other people.
Yes,
but yeah, she is her own oppressor, and that still counts towards freeing her from it.
With On, it's just some rival model.
Oh yeah,
I guess in that she wants to be strong.
She wants to be strong.
It's
a simpler fight, but it's still a fight. Makoto, I think. What do? You mostly just you help her stop being uptight.
Makoto's is weird because it's mostly about an entirely different character. Like it's like you.
Right, she's always you're helping her get things figured out with her other friend.
With another girl, and
yeah.
Makoto's is kind of like Makoto's has nothing to do with Makoto.
But it says something about Makoto's that she basically goes out of her way to not give two shits about herself.
As much as I like Makoto, in my opinion, that's like the weakest social link. It's just has nothing to do with the character.
And no, it's I don't know. My vote is gonna be cast for that one for the social links.
I'm honestly kind of
It's just because they put more. I feel like it's unfair to say that though, because honestly, they had 2 other ones to try on, and then they settled on 5, which did it the best.
Yes.
I feel.
My thing with Persona 3, it varies from a 1 to a 10, and Persona 5 is consistently an 8 out of 10 for every single one.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. There's kind of that.
But it's never a 1.
No, that's the weird thing about Persona 3, though. I feel I may have contracted an illness from you or something, where you say that's the imperfection that is the perfect thing or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of I like the weird imperfections.
You just figured out that I was right.
You're wrong. That's the weird thing about Persona 3 is it has a lot of weird, dumb shit that doesn't make any goddamn sense, and a lot of really stupid stuff. But it's it's interesting. I would rather have horrible, weird stuff than mediocre stuff. But there's also the perfect stuff. I'm gonna go with Persona 3. I'm gonna go for 3.
No, I'm taking the low-hanging fruit. I'm afraid on that one.
Of course, you're going 5. Almost every choice you've gone for 5, and almost every choice I've gone for 3.
It's the one that's hit me the hardest in most ways. Anyways,
dungeon crawling.
Oh yes, we're on dungeon crawl. So we might be able to fix this also in with combat a little bit, because they kind of work hand in hand. Dungeon crawl. We have the 3 main dungeons. We have now 5. We're not going to talk about the palaces, because those are separate. We're going to talk about the main dungeon crawl.
I thought we'd talk about that. The different ways that it's kind of presented itself.
That's what I'm going with. I'm starting off with in 3 we have Tartarus.
Yes.
The continued the almost
it's
infinite
200,
tower.
Over 200 floors.
Yeah, the over 200
randomly generating dungeon.
300. Yeah, you're messing. I can't speak.
I'm sorry.
Over 200 floors of Tartarus, which is the tower going upwards.
Yes.
You have the TV studio, which is more going out width-wise.
Yes.
There's a trail going off in different directions. Expansive, yes, and of course fog-covered unless you have glasses.
And it's about 10 floors or so per dungeon, because you don't have... It's not it's
the dungeons themselves remind me of Tartarus's ones.
Because they're randomly generated.
Exactly.
Some of them have a couple gimmicks, but most part they're randomly generated.
And then with 5 we have Mementos, which kind of goes the opposite direction of Tartarus. It goes down.
And it also has, it's 5 with 3, it's just walls. It just looks like a hallway, basically.
It is. It's much more. It's a whole different style looking, so it looks fancier.
In 4, it kind of fits whatever pattern the dungeon follows. Some of them, they have different things. One's a strip club, and one's a science base underground and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And in 5, it's subway.
In 5, they take that creativity for the levels, like you saw there, and they put them into the palaces.
Yes.
Which are whole separate entity dungeons of their own.
Yes.
Very similar to the idea of 4s going into each one for each person.
It's kind of 4 is sort of the weird halfway mark. 3, it's all randomly generated.
Yeah.
5, and then 5, it's dedicated specific levels plus a randomly generated.
But to be fair, Mementos is randomly generated.
Yes, I did just mention that.
Okay, sorry. But anyways, I don't know if we can pick a favorite on something like this. I can. Can you?
3. I'm going to be honest. In replaying Persona 5, I've forgotten how much I fucking hate the dungeons.
Really?
Make
it short.
This is so weird, and I didn't. It's just I don't like doing the puzzles. They're all long and boring, and they all have. Okay, here's another thing. I forgot to mention this in the story part for Persona 5. I'm going to mention this. The fact that they repeat dialogue, they repeat points over and over and over and over again. In Persona 5, so yes, if we flip this switch, this does this thing. Yes, that's very smart of you, Makoto. I figured this out also. Well done, Akechi. And basically that, over and over and over. Every time a new party member joins, they have to explain how the metaverse works every single time you...
Well, not 100%. Makoto picked it up pretty fast.
That's the one exception, because to show off how smart Makoto is.
Handled it pretty well too, I'd say.
Yeah, and then Akechi also was supposed to show off how smart he is.
He already knew about it though.
Yeah,
so.
That's a plot twist, Clayton.
Spoilers.
Yes, but I found the puzzles so goddamn irritating, and all the repeating dialogue, and I just want in 3. It was irritating at times to have these ridiculously hard mid-floor bosses sometimes that are harder than the fucking endgame boss at times. Like, it's weird. The difficulty spike is everywhere, but, like, I can just relax. I can, like, put my focus into just going and exploring, and I can have a good time. With Persona 5, the dungeons are fucking miserable. I'm, like, I didn't expect this in my playthrough, but I really do not like the specifically made dungeons at all.
You see, I have to go the opposite direction for you. I have reasons, though. I'm not just going along with flow.
I'm gonna be honest. My opinion is a very weird one. I'm kind of surprised by it.
For my part, I understand where you're coming from with 3's dungeons being the generic,
just
randomly
explore and fight. That's all you gotta do.
But you see, I find that to be boring. See, it gets samey over time. You have to do this for the entirety of the game, and nothing has changed. The borders have changed, the floor has changed, sure, monsters, but it's still the same dungeon, and you keep going through it over and over again. Maybe it's supposed to give you a sense of some purgatory or something like that.
It's a desperate hell you're fighting through.
I don't see it as being a good way of doing it, but in the way of
I'll admit, it is very antiquated game design. It is like 1999 game design.
And in the way of 5, the singly made ones like the castles, the palaces, I find that works a lot better for the narrative because it has.
Oh, for the narrative, absolutely.
Especially for narrative, because it has the fact you're not just like it's a randomly created area. It is this is a place that created specifically by this person's mind.
In Persona 5, if they had just had like the randomly generated dungeons like Persona 4, Persona 4 is easily the worst in my opinion because it just once again Persona 4 is the worst because it has like this weird half measure between Tartarus and the various palaces because you have like occasional puzzles or little gimmicks or that sort of thing, and the levels are usually about this. They're like sometimes a little bit bigger, but not really. And you like I don't know. I just it's a boring, awful middle ground. It's like you can enjoy a nice hot tea or something, or a nice hot chocolate, or you can enjoy a nice, refreshing, cool cup of water. You're not going to enjoy lukewarm water.
I can give points to 3's Tartarus because of the whole. Maybe it's supposed to be indicative of hell, or what's the word I was like? I used
Tartarus, literally Tartarus.
Tartarus, yeah. It's supposed to be limbo, basically, or it's supposed to be like purgatory. That was the word I used. And it's meant to be suffering in a sense.
Yes.
I'm okay with that, because that is the theme of the fucking game.
Yes.
But 4 is supposed to be more upbeat despite the murder mystery.
Yes.
And you still have that same thing.
Yes.
It's
kind of weird. It's really weird. I think I would have been disappointed. Like, I think if Persona 5 did have, like, the halfway dungeon design like 4, it would have been as bad.
Yes.
I think you need to have...
Which I think is why it made sense for them to give us the specific ones
and the randomly generated.
give us mementos, and the mementos is meant for grinding, obviously.
Basically, or when you want to get like
because in between can't get back into the palaces.
Yeah, or when you want like a specific persona or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, for my part, again, 5 wins it and 3 wins it for you.
Yes, I also my like really really small problem with Mementos, I find just like the levels feel too small, and I'm not a huge fan of like the theme. I feel I should. It just feels small and cramped in like a boring way.
Well, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to feel like a subway system, which is a small tunnel underground.
I know, I just don't like it.
Fair enough.
Combat. There's enough changes, I think. There are some...
This is one where you're going to actually probably be surprised where I place my vote.
I suspect I might be. I'll lay out the 3 sort of similar-ish combat things. Mm-hmm. Persona 3, you have your elemental attacks, you have 3 types of physical, and you have Holy and Curse and Almighty. And those are your things, and you got fusion spells. It's like, it is the standard that the other games, like, derived from.
Yeah, of course. It's where they started from.
And then you have the kind of the press turn system. It's not like the full press turn system like an SMT where you can lose turns if you miss.
Mm-hmm.
But
thank God, I hated that part.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest with you here, fam. It's not good. But you got the weaknesses and all that sort of thing, and I really, really like it. Like it's strong and it's solid. Persona 4, they took away the 2 damage types, the 2 physical types, so it's just physical. So there's like barely any damage types. and it just feels like really lacking.
Yeah.
It just, and there's, as far as I'm aware, there's no fusion spells in 4. I cannot remember. I don't remember any of them being mentioned or ever seeing one performed, like accidentally, or I've never seen on gameplay or anything. So I'm assuming that like Persona 4 is just really bare bones in terms of combat. And then Persona 4 fucking hiked the shit out. They brought back negotiations from 1 and 2.
You mean 5?
Yes.
You said 4.
Oh my god, how dare I compliment 4? Persona 5, they have negotiations, you have physical and gun attacks, you have all these elementals plus nuclear and psi, like you have a ton of options.
They brought things from even that weren't even in 3.
No, they brought shit from 1 and 2.
Actual original SMT games.
Yeah.
So.
It's like, which is
by the way, those at home, SMT stands for Shin Megami Tensei.
Shin Megami Tensei.
Megami.
Oh, fucking
get over it. So they gave.
I'll pour this pepper all over my head.
You go ahead, you do it. I'll take a video of it. We'll put it on YouTube.
Let's continue.
Anyways, and so where are you placing your vote on that? Having said what you have said,
it's difficult. Honestly, it's gonna be Persona 3 again.
Are you sure?
I'm actually not. I have forgotten. I have forgotten the fact that Persona 5 has just remembered that there are multiple buttons on a controller. The fact, my brain briefly farted. We're 4:45 here at this point.
Yes.
We're very tired. Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 for once, because they've decided. They remembered that you can use multiple buttons, so you don't have to scroll through a fucking list every single goddamn time.
Yeah.
So if you want to use
it has memory too, I think, for the thing on which you did.
It does all of them.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a vast improvement in most areas.
I have to disagree.
Really?
I love 5. No, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I love 5
Of course you
system.
do. Of course you do.
But I'm going to say it here for all to know, I am a petty little man.
Okay.
And the thing I loved the most about 3 is that the main character could use any weapon.
I never used a weapon, but I just used the swords.
You could use anybody's weapon.
I know. I didn't care.
And for my part,
because of all the 3 types of physical.
And I was saddened by the fact that they just stuck you with the katana. I mean, sure, it makes sense to this point. And obviously, it really works well with Joker having the gun and the dagger.
If there's only one type of physical attack, there's no need to switch between different weapons.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes a point.
That's kind of the thing, because once you get rid of the 2 other types of physical attacks, there's no reason to be able to switch between weapons, because it's all just going to do the exact same thing. It's just going to look different.
So, but still, for my own petty little reasons, I'm actually supporting 3.
Oh my god, this is shocking. We have switched teams.
Literally.
Yes. Alright, so we're talking the final battle, the final boss. I think that here we should include, like, basically, like, from when you start the final boss to, like, when it's dead, including, like, getting the world of the universe Arcana. Like,
okay, here's how it's going to work, since you'll remember it in better clarity than me. You're going to go gush about 3s.
Yes.
I will gush about 5s, and together we'll try to remember 4s.
I have a lot of complaints about 4s, I'm going to be honest. This is where, like,
much about 4s.
This is where the hammer falls down hardest, possibly on 4. 3 is a fucking masterpiece of an ending. It is 14 phases of boss fight. It is a lot of fucking health. It is hard. It is a hard boss fight. Painfully won, and you don't even fucking win. You only win because of the power of friendship, because this is Persona, and that's how that shit works.
Basically.
Where you get the fucking Universe Arcana so that you can seal away death. That's fucking sick. That is mission status. Fucking sick, bro. I cannot, describe how cool that is. And then, like, down, when you're on top of Tartarus, you flash and you see all the social links you completed cheering you on, and you have all your friends also up there on Tartarus cheering you on so you can perform the Great Seal, and it's fucking insane with, like, the best boss fight music. The Nyx boss fight is one of the best, is possibly my favorite boss fight of all time.
I'll have to listen to it again. I haven't listened to it for ages.
Everything. Like, literally everything about the next boss fight is literally perfect. Though Persona 5 does somehow manage to improve on it in one small way. Which we'll tell when you describe Persona 5 boss fight.
Alrighty, so 5. What can I say about 5? Now, I feel it has its own power to it, in a different way from 3's. 3, like we went over before, had basically you're fighting death.
Yes.
Which is
how
odd.
The fuck do you go from that?
Which, first off, I should mention is really odd since all 3 of them have the Reaper. That's
that's a whole different thing. That's a different thing.
But we won't get into that.
He has a shotgun and chains. Let's move on.
He's the edgy Reaper. But anyways, yeah, you fight death and such like that. This guy is the very personification of man's want to be controlled. And through this, allowing this thing to have power, it's literally encroaching the metaverse into the real world and taking control of the world itself. Is it the same as death basically annihilating everything?
It's a different kind of vibe.
But it is still a hell of a huge threat.
Yes.
And, I mean, of course, it's such a thing that's so pervasive because nobody else notices it, because it's part of their subconscious.
Yes.
The only ones that don't notice it are the ones that
it's not part of their cognition, the Phantom Thieves.
Yeah, either the Phantom Thieves, who have their own cognition, or the ones that have been touched by the Phantom Thieves. Who, like the ones you see at the final battle days, they're looking around like, what's wrong with everybody?
Yeah.
What's going on? But it gets into such a way, it's not like the multiple phases like yours is.
Yes.
But in a way it kind of is, too, in a sense, because you do have the multiple arms you have to switch between.
Though it's certainly not as long or
setups.
intensive as 3.
True. I'm kind of thankful for that. I like a good final boss battle, but going too long is a bit much.
Nyx is so insanely memorable just because of how long it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't help it.
It's a slog. And unlike Persona 5, where if you do the certain social links, you can't change out your party member. In Persona 5, you can have the option to change out your party members.
Yep.
You can get support from Futaba. You
have the chance to, only if you get the right confidant level up high enough.
But you have a chance to. In Persona 3, you can't. You're stuck with the people you choose.
Yep.
You're stuck with your items. There's no buffs. This is it. This is all you got.
Yes.
It's end of the line.
And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in there, because I still feel that 5, unlike 3, is a much more narrative-driven situation.
Persona 3 and 4 are more character games.
Character, and 3 especially goes more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more feeling-driven.
Yeah,
like
the best way you can kind of describe it.
The way they built that game is to give you always feeling a vibe of, what's happening
It's kind of like an art house movie where it's designed to, give you a specific impression, or to show this really dramatic shot, and there's just a series of scenes sort of loosely connected in order to chain that together to give you that excuse of that feeling.
Whereas it's more feel, don't see. Whereas with 5, it's much more watch, but also feel. Yes. You feel because you watch, basically, and it comes out with amazing visuals to punctuate everything that's happening, like I've mentioned before. The meter going up to 100% to show that everybody's faith is in you. And over there, you're summoning a gigantic demon lord to finish off the final boss. These are all amazing, awesome visuals that just pull you right into it. And while they may lack the gravitas of 3's, they definitely have their own power to it, which is not insubstantial.
I have to agree, 100%. The one thing that I think Persona 5 does better than 3 in its ending is when all your friends rally to you and you get the power. It's the bar filling up. It's seeing everybody on the floor cheering, actively willing themselves for you. In 3,
those characters that you put the time into making your confidants. And
Yes.
I should mention one of the favorite things I have about the confidants over other social links is that every single one of them, once you get to the top point that isn't one of your party members, figures out you're the Phantom Thieves and literally is you know what? I'm cool with it.
They're you're pretty cool.
You guys are doing this right, so go along with it. So
and then
that's a sign that
some of them suck your dick. It depends.
That's just the teacher, but we won't get into that. But anyways, the fact being is that I don't know. To me, that shows a sign that character is obviously willing to put 100% trust in you, and that's a hard thing to get people to do. Remember what I was saying before about how this game is much closer showing reality on certain things than others. So.
In the January sequence when you go to jail, where all the confidants you've completed help to find they're spreading awareness about you and they're trying to find a way to get you out of jail. That's so great. Persona 5 does the ending bits where it shows all the effects of your confidants, your social links, better than Persona 3. That's the one thing it does better, but otherwise I absolutely 100% prefer 3. I do agree that the summoning a giant demon, summoning literally Satan to shoot God in the head.
What was it? I can't remember which one said it. I think it might have been Ryuji or somebody like that. It's Morgana. It's when God stops playing nice, the demon lord needs to discipline him or something like that.
I don't remember that line.
They're basically making a cool line to introduce the demon lord.
But I think there's just something like quietly powerful about choosing the Great Seal option. When you get knocked down to 1 HP, you're barely alive, and all your friends slowly restore your HP as you're standing next to the attacks, and you choose the Great Seal, and it's just the exact amount of your health, and it's just enough, and it's just like it's the best way I can describe it is Persona 3 is like a beautiful symphony, and Persona 5 is like a fucking pyrotechnics heavy metal concert.
Both amazing.
Yes, but
in their own way.
And just depends on which you prefer.
And then there's Persona 4.
Okay, so here's my problem with Persona 4's ending. First off, the Adachi boss fight is like the fake final boss fight. It's actually really good because there's like emotional, plot-driven stakes. Like it's really, really heavy. Izanami is boring. Like when she reveals her motivation,
monster of the week kind of thing.
Her whole motivation, she says, is I wanted to see if you would like reach out to the truth. That was the entire thing. She has no reason to fight you. Like literally, there is no reason for her to fight you at all.
Except maybe your group saying, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna murder you.
Yeah, which is entirely unreasonable.
Completely against their characters.
Yeah, it's.
I could see Makoto doing it. I could see Ren doing it, getting pissed and wanting to do that.
But you and like everybody else,
them,
no, and especially with like Naoto on board, like no, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are we fighting God? We've done enough. And she has no reason to fight back. Like even if you like shoot her or something, there's no reason for her to fight back, but she does because you need a final boss fight.
Basically, so you're saying it feels tacked on.
It's absolutely tacked on. I think the better end, in my opinion, the boss fight itself is really boring. There's no like additional stuff like all the phases with Nyx or with the arms coming out. It's just like it's 2 phases and they're both really, really boring, and they use a lot of the similar attacks. It just really hits really heavy. It's just really, really, really boring. And the scene of everyone rallying their power again towards you is also really boring because you're in the TV world, so you can't like cut out and see it. So you're just lying on the ground, half dead, and like spirits of your friends are like, "I hope you're doing okay," and then they disappear and go to the next one. It's really weird. I do not like it. It's.
And then there's the fox. Yip. Or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it just goes yip.
Yeah.
Like, the best way to end Persona 4 would have been like. I don't know, you meet Izanami in like a really cool cutscene where you, like, I don't know, it didn't need a boss fight.
Izanagi more into it, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's more Izanagi than you that has the actual connection to it.
I think, like, if you've done something with, like, Izanagi and Izanami, like, reuniting or, like, forming into doing something different, and, like, that's how you get, like, the World Arcana in your Ultimate Persona, and that's how you stop the fog and all that, that would have been really, really cool, but otherwise it's just, okay, now you're plus ultra Izanagi. You don't even get, like, a cool, like, different persona. Like, Makoto gets fucking Messiah, and it's awesome. And Joker gets Satin Isle, and it's awesome. You just get...
Makoto gets 2 different ones. He gets Messiah, but he also gets Thanatos.
Well, Messiah is his ultimate one. It's the one in the credits.
For my part, I like Thanatos.
I prefer Messiah. It's just more thematically appropriate. He's literally the Messiah.
I prefer the dark side of his personality, which is an odd thing considering who he does.
I know.
Why are you taking the light side of things?
Because it's appropriate to the character arc. I like hopeful things when they are good, when they are appropriate.
So, unlike in 3, where there is the fate of all existence at stake, and you have to seal it away, or 5, where the fate of
probably the entire world, because
world.
You could have like the entire metaverse just spilling over into the real world, and everything's a nightmare, and it could be like really fucked up.
And mess things up. You have
the fog is what comes down in 4.
She was fucking around with a bunch of teenagers, and that's it.
It feels really petty.
It's very petty.
Like, there's fog coming, and it's bad fog, and there's towards the end of the game, they're like, oh, this is really bad fog, and like, everyone's...
Let me say something. Mist and fog has been done in movies before.
Yes.
It can be scary. It can have gravity to it. It can be terrifying if need be.
Like, they try and do a similar thing to Persona 3 with more and more apathy syndrome victims just showing up in the streets, emptying out. They'll have a point where there's, like, more and more fog encroaching in, more and more people are calling in sick to school, all that sort of thing, but it feels really hollow. Because the entire, like, it just feels like it's not a whole lot of build-up, it's barely been in there, it feels really, like, again, it's one of those things where the tone conflicts. I don't like the conflicting tone. Like, it's suddenly, like, it's kind of dark, but not really, like, it's not great. Persona 4 has the weakest ending. It also doesn't even have, like, really, like, a good conclusion. Like, Makoto, he dies in the arms of his robot wife. His robot waifu. That's fantastic. That's great. As his friends rush up to me, but he doesn't see them. He dies before they can reach. It's fantastic. That's fucking amazing.
Spoilers.
Yes. And then Ren, Joker, he goes on he saved the world and he gets to go on a cool fucking road trip with his friends to go back home. It's like,
Not only that, I should mention his cat does not actually die, and he gets a cool talking cat.
Yes. That's fucking cool.
He is the true anime hero.
That's, like, really cool. In Persona 4, he just goes on a train and leaves. And then, like, canonically, in Arena, he just comes back, like, a month later for Golden Week. He just comes back, and then they get a whole bunch of other adventures. It just feels really pathetic.
Tacked on.
I wouldn't say tacked on, it just feels bad. It just feels poorly done. Persona 4 is the worst Persona game. This isn't even... I would say it's worse than 1.
I thought you liked 1.
I do. 1 isn't even fantastic. It's got problems of its own, mostly in terms of, like, the antiquated, like, dungeon design and gameplay and stuff, but no, 4 is the worst.
Yeah. I'm not gonna disagree with you now. I mean, there's a part of me that still loves 4. I think I love 4 more as the anime than I do the game. Because the anime actually added some personality to the characters and made them entertaining.
Like, the anime is, from what I've, like, seen, I've just been watching clips, like, on YouTube, and it's entertaining, and it's kind of, like, influences my opinion of the video game, and I remember these characters as having personality and fun, like, relationships, as opposed to being really fucking boring.
Yeah.
No, Persona 4 is... if you had to give these games... Let's say give these games, like, a score...
By the way, 10. Are we adding the point that we both know which one we're supporting?
According to this, I'm supporting Persona 3 is 100% the better game.
Of course you are. That doesn't surprise me.
And you go Persona 5.
Of course.
If you had to give these games... Let's give them out of 10. What would you give them?
3?
Yes.
I would give... 7 out of 10.
Interesting.
It's definitely an amazing story in its own right. The theme, sadly, is not... despite the amount of times I replayed the game, the theme is still not my favorite. It's just
I think that's depressing. Ultimately what it comes down to, is just what thing we find more appealing.
4. Well, actually, you give me threes.
3.
1 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Like, rounded up, it's like a 9.9.
But okay,
because
so
no
4.
game is literally perfect.
4.
4. 7 out of 10.
Really?
4, it's like a...
I'm surprised, actually.
It's like a soft 7.
The amount of shit we've spoken here, and you're giving it a 7.
Because it's still got the Persona appeal, it's still got the fusions and the good gameplay. It's just the worst of them. It's just... Persona's just a really good series.
That's true.
It's like a 6.8.
I give it a straight 5.
Really?
Right in the middle.
The fact that you like it more... That I like it more than you do, at least... I mean, I don't even like...
Here's the fact.
It's weird.
I like the anime more than I like the game.
I never really liked the anime that much. I still think the anime has a lot of the problems of the game.
Well, anyways, that's my thought on that. So we come to 5. Your thoughts?
10 out of 10. It's like a 9.8, like rounded up. It's like a tiny bit lower.
It's same for me. And our final score would say about the same. 3 got 10 points. 5 got 16 points, and poor 4 got 2 points. I feel it's pity points almost.
It really is.
5 beat them out. I mean, overall, between the two of us, we've just found that in a lot of ways, it still is the superior game. In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, yes.
Is it your favorite? No. 3 is still your favorite.
It's one of. I think this might be a case that I can think of where a game I can acknowledge that it's good, but I still don't like it as much.
There you go.
Persona 5 is a fantastic game, but I prefer Persona 3. Despite the fact that Persona 3 has a ton of fucking problems, I love it.
We've had a revelation here today.
Here it is.
A Revelations Persona.
We had a
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Fucking banshee.
I inhaled very badly.
Ow. Anyway, so I think we're done here.
This has been a fucking roller coaster. 3 hours of conversation.
Basically. I apologize for it being as long as it is, but we obviously had a lot to say on the matter.
I think it's worth getting out just so we can like lay these facts down, because these are things we talk about a lot.
And so I hope you enjoyed this, because I think we did. I think we ironed out some thought processes. Sometimes it's good to just throw some stuff out there and figure it out. Man. We learned a few things on a few places there, supported things neither of us figured either would make sense. And I don't know, I think so we'll leave it there, and you know what? If anybody actually watches gives a crap, give us some opinions on what you think. Which one's your favorite Persona? Down in the comments section
If you
below.
like Persona 4, you were wrong.
People are going to say that now just to piss you off.
Cool, I'm glad. I would be glad. Because here's the thing. I would rather have... Here's my...
Trying to sign this fucking thing out, boy. Go fast.
I would rather have... I would rather be hated than be absolutely thought nothing of. Persona 3 has a lot wrong with it, but it's better than the absolute mediocrity of Persona 4.
Fair enough. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Let's
Get us out of here.
Anyways, I hope you enjoy this, and you know what? Until next time, be good to each other, everybody.
Yo.
Bye.